If I told you, here's a pill, and if you take this pill, it has no side effects. It's all natural. And when you take this pill, you are going to release your stress. You're going to come out of your sympathetic nervous state and come into parasympathetic mode. You're going to feel your body rest and digest. You're going to be so much calmer and clearer. You're going to improve your immunity and your circulation in your body. All these things, you'd be like, give me the pill, give me the pill. But if I told you that just requires you to breathe for 2 minutes of intentional breathing, and you can feel those same things, we're like, hodgepodge, hokey pokey. We just dismiss it.
What if the secret to transforming your life wasn't a total overhaul, but 7 tiny daily habits that take less than a total of 30 minutes a day? That's what today's guest, Andrea Leigh Rogers, is here to teach us. She's the founder of the internationally loved Xtend Barre method and the best-selling author of Small Moves, Big Life, 7 daily practices to supercharge your energy, productivity, and happiness in just minutes a day. And in this conversation, she is breaking down the daily practices that have transformed thousands of women's lives. From the genius breakfast hack to how she prepares her body for sleep in under 5 minutes, Andrea is full of simple, genius, easy, but unique rituals that will transform how you feel and show up in your life. Get your notes app ready. You will want to take notes. Welcome, Andrea, to the Everygirl podcast. I always love to start by learning about the thread that kind of every successful person seems to have throughout their life and how they got to where they are. So looking back on your childhood self, what did that version of Andrea believe about success?
Interesting. I learned very early on what success meant. I had the privilege of being a competitive dancer from the age, I think my first competition was the age of 4, on stage doing a solo
Forever.
at 4 years old. Yeah. So I feel like I have always been in that work hard, get results type of situation in my life. And I learned very early on that I had a natural talent for it, but that it also required me to take that talent and really work at it to optimize that talent and turn it into something more. And through dance and becoming a professional dancer, I have just been able to take those dance lessons and turn them into life lessons.
I grew up as a dancer, also competitively, did not go as far as you did, but I know how hard it takes and the amount of discipline it requires. So starting as a professional dancer and obviously taking a pivot into a business person and a leader, what did you learn in those early years of your career and throughout your dance life that you believe have helped you to be the successful leader that you are now?
I think some of the lessons are, you know, I would say one of the mantras and life lessons that I use is full out. And I'm sure as a dancer, you understand that term. And for those who are non dancers, I'll give a brief explanation. But as you grow up in the dance world, you will have opportunities where your instructor or choreographer will say, just mark it, right? And that simply means just go through the motions, kind of go through the moves, making sure that you're all spaced properly. And you're just kind of going through the dance, getting the movement into your body, understanding and learning the choreography. And then they will say, okay, full out, let's go. And that means you leave it all on the dance floor, right? You're giving it everything that you possibly have, and you're performing at your top, highest level. And so I've tried to apply myself in life and in business and in my career to always be not, always 100% full out, but when it is time to be full out, we're going to be full out and we're going to really optimize our effort. Whether that is me teaching a workout or doing a workout, whether that is showing up in a meeting, whether that is being prepared for a podcast like we're having, all of the things that you need to do to show up full out in life are going to optimize your opportunities to turn that into a bigger, bolder, better life.
I love that comparison of full out into life. You saying full out also like gave me a chill up my spine. It's such like a little PTSD from instructors being like full out, full
Yes.
out. So
And you're like, oh God, I'm going. Oh my God, you got to show up.
even the days where you're like, I'm so tired, my muscles are so
Yes.
sore, I can't do it, but you have to go full out. You just do it and your body finds a way to do it.
And what you just said is the term non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. When you are part of a group, and you're always part of a group, we're part of groups in everything we do, whether it's part of our group in our family or as a parent or in our work environments, you have to show up for the other people. And you didn't have a choice when you were told to go full out. You went full out because there was no second option. You couldn't be like, I'm tired, my muscles hurt. I don't want to do it today. You just did it and you got through it. And that's true of a lot of athletes, not just dancers, right? A lot of athletes that practice competitively in their youth are able to apply those same type of principles throughout the rest of their life because they learn resilience. They learn how to push away the excuses and just lean into the action. And that's where things happen in life, is in the action.
How in your business life and as a leader are you able to push away those outside voices, distractions in order to go so full out when you need to?
Yeah, I do that often. I don't know what it is, but I'm always looking for the like what I'm doing next and what's that next accomplishment and how can I, move on. My friend's staying with me here and I brought her in to just look at a document right before I got on here of like, okay, here's what I'm crafting for a workshop to support this book. And then here's what my second book ideas are. And she's like, and you've been a bestseller for a day. Can you just sit with that? And I'm like showing her my 4-page Word document that I just worked on for the last hour and a half. I'm like, no, this is next. That's just how I'm wired. And I think it's because I'm passionate about what I do. And I'm passionate about working with women. And I'm really passionate about helping them to live their best life. That is my goal in life, is to help equip women to feel good inside and out and to feel equipped and confident and just to have those little tools that are easy, accessible, and sustainable to be able to implement like that into their life and see immediate changes that are going to be long term. So using all these little life lessons, and that's what this whole book is about, are these simple 7 principles that you can do every single day that are my rock, my foundation, and they give me that stability. They're my stabilizers so that I can go out in the world and do all the things that I want to do.
Yeah, your stabilizers is such a great way to explain that. I always say, we think of like work life balance as if we have to balance like 50% our outside life and 50% our career. And it's like, there's no such thing. My investment in my career is my workouts. It is my time with my friends, my time with my fiance. Like that is an investment into my career. And it sounds like that's very much the root of how you view your life. You have to invest in your energy in order to show up the way that you need to at work.
Yes, I was just talking about this at the book launch at Austin. I was talking about how we always have time boundaries, right? Where you like put boundaries on a time. We're like, okay, we're going to allocate this and this and this, but we don't have energy boundaries. And I think that's really important to be able to assess what that looks like for you. Like, why am I doing this? Is this because it's an obligation, or am I doing this with intention? And some things you have to do out of obligation. We are adults. This is part of life. Sometimes you have to show up and do the thing that you don't really want to do. But a lot of the times we end up just doing things because it's part of our saying yes too often, or not analyzing what we're giving our time to and what it's giving back, how we're getting that energy input and output.
Energy boundary is such a fascinating concept because you're right. We talk all the time about time boundaries. Oh, I don't have time for this, or I don't have time for
Hmm.
this. But
Hmm.
do we have energy for it? Is that going to drain our energy for something else that we need to? So, are
Exactly.
you constantly going through your day thinking about, is this something that's going to drain my energy or restore it? And then managing your priorities that way?
One of the principles that we discuss in the book is my strategy called do the thing. And do the thing is an energy boundary, but it's also a productivity, and it just kind of levels up your to-do list. Okay. So instead of just writing things down to check them off and feeling like you're going through the motions, this allows you to pause and to assess what you are doing with your time, like how you are actually showing up for yourself that day. So instead of just writing down all the things that you have to do, because that is never ending, you stop, you pause, and you say 3 things today. That's it, 3 things. They're non-negotiable, and they are going to progress me in some capacity. That progression may be in my mental health because I took some time to allow myself to be bored today and unwind from social media. That might be it. Or it might be something as simple as returning your boxes. I always say this because it always stresses me out when I see return boxes on the table. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get that done. So those little things like give me a little anxiety relief. And then it's always something typically a little bit bigger. Like I've got to outline and spend 2 hours outlining what the next objective is in my career. I write those down and I have those 3 things. They're non negotiable and I get them done every day, no matter what. And then there's room to do more when I need to do more. But knowing that I got those 3 things done that I really intended and needed to get done today allows me to go to sleep at night without feeling defeated. That is the biggest thing, because then I'm getting good sleep because I'm not worried about chasing my tail. And I know that tomorrow's going to be another productive day because I'm on top of it. And I'm not just writing things down. I'm actually sitting and being strategic about how I'm spending my time that day.
It's such a genius method because it's so simple, but it is strategy, I think, is the biggest key of it. Most of us spend our lives so reactive of like, okay, what does this person need from me today? What are we writing on our to-do list? And it's like this long list that's ever growing rather than having that moment to be intentional about like, what are the three things that would be most important for me to be done today? Because you're right, like the boxes
But
that you're like, oh my God, every time I walk past them, I'm stressed out. I literally have that I'm staring at it right now across the
yes, and
room.
don't you feel like, yeah, you don't realize it, but there's this little voice in your head that's like, "You failed. You didn't
Yes,
do it. You didn't
literally.
do it again."
Again,
And it's just
another
that little
day.
voice. Another day, you'll do it tomorrow, you'll do it tomorrow, but that adds up. It really does. It compounds negatively, just as when you do little things that are good, that compounds positively every day. So you got to choose your path.
It's so true, and it's like the intentionality, the self-awareness
It
of like,
is.
what are these things? Yes, you could say, okay, they're just returning boxes. I also need to do all these things, which maybe some days might be true of it's going to not be my priority today to do that. But other days it's like, yeah, I
Yes.
have to write this outline, but this is actually affecting me. Every time I walk past
Yes.
the boxes, I'm stressed out. So like I'm going to make it my priority. It's
Yes.
like the intentionality is life changing.
And you just nailed it. So if you intentionally write the things down, you've acknowledged the boxes are there, but you consciously said, I'm going to put that on my list by the end of the week or next week. You don't look at it and feel like a failure. You look at it and go, I already made a decision about you. And you and I are going to have a date another day. And you don't feel that failure, right? You feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing because I didn't just ignore it. I was very clear and strategic about it. So we're
Yes.
strategic about so many things in our life, but yet the daily tasks just kind of come and we just keep getting through the day or maintaining through the day. And when you make that small little change and you implement, do the thing, all of a sudden you're like, this is so simple. It's like crazy. And you start to just live a lighter life. You feel less of that heaviness of lack of doing things.
You are in control of your to-do list instead of your to-do list being in control of you.
Ding, ding. Nailed it.
I want to dive more into the other things you talk about in your best-selling book. We just talked about this, but like huge accomplishment, so exciting. I know you just found out, so I hope you're still like celebrating and popping champagne and all the good
Yes.
stuff. Your book is called Small Moves, Big Life, and you say that just 30 minutes a day broken into 7 practices can shift your energy, productivity, and happiness. So, I'm first of all really curious if you could take us back to the moment you realized that small changes rather than big overhauls were the answer to changing your life.
So I think it kind of started with me adding these simple things into my life collectively over the years. And what started to happen was I would share this feedback with very close friends, and then the next layer of my network, and then my clients and my members, and so forth. It would be a client asking me, hey, I'm not sleeping at night. What do you do? And oh, here's the strategy. This is what I do every single night. And oh, in the morning, well, yeah, no wonder why you're waking up with anxiety. Here's what I do in the morning to start my day. Or, oh, the first meal of the day, here's what I do to make my first meal of the day the most nutritionally dense, but also mindfully nourishing. And so I'd share all of these little things. And over time, it was like, all right, I got to write this down. Okay, I got to turn this into a workshop. Okay, now I got to create a book. It was very organic. It wasn't this moment of like, oh, if I do small things every single day, it'll add up and I'm going to create this big life. It was more or less of me finding these unique, authentic ways to live my life in a way that was, I move fast. I am a hustle mindset kind of girl, but I also had to find my way to like navigate that with finding my sense of self and finding my calm and finding my calm in a chaotic time in my life when my world was spiraling, my business was struggling, my marriage was ending, and my whole world was like exploding. And I just leaned into these practices that brought me back to life. And they not only brought me back to life, but they brought me direction. And with direction comes control and calm. I don't even realize I'm doing them, right? Like they're so routine, it's like brushing your teeth now. But when I don't do them, I realize I don't do them. Like if I skip my evening practice, I don't sleep as well. I very rarely skip it, but occasionally I do. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, I didn't do that last night. So that's the goal with this. It's not to add another thing to your to-do list. Because when you think of it, right, you're like, 7 more things I gotta do? You're nuts, girl. Like, there's no way I can't even do one more thing. But it's not. It's super simple. You just learn them, you do them, and they become second nature.
And I think it's so smart to lean into the micro habit. Like, this is not the big overhaul of your whole routine. These are like tiny little things that are as second nature as brushing your teeth. And in this culture where we're so obsessed with, oh, what's the huge thing I'm going to do that's going to make
Mhm.
me lose weight and change my life
Mhm.
and get me a
Yes.
millionaire and whatever. Like knowing that there's small things in a world where we're already dealing with burnout, I think is so smart and also so powerful. Like it's revolutionary to say, wait a second, you don't need, the really expensive products. You don't need the really exhausting hour-long routine. You need something so small and so simple. That is what's going to change your life because it really is.
It really is, but for some reason, we've been convinced as a society that major overhauls are the way to create major change, and because we're impatient and we just think we gotta do something big, and it is the daily habits that compound over time that equal real results and sustainable results, and that's really where it's at. I've seen people lose weight like crazy from both perspectives. I've seen them lose weight with consistent movement every single day and changing their nutritional diet. And I've seen them take other measures and I've seen what happens. And sustainability happens with the small moves that are done over time with a mindful intention. And in our society, as you mentioned, we've mistaken busyness for purpose and productivity. And it's just not the case, right? Like we just need to figure out how we can get more out of our time every day. And you can. And these practices will give you back that time and specifically your energy, like big time. These are energy drivers. And I feel like we're also depleted. This is going to give you back that control and energy.
Energy is like the most powerful currency because it's what we need to invest in the careers we want. It's what we need to get the wellness routines and to treat our body how we want, to have our relationships. So, like, again, going back to like, the energy management of thinking of these as investments in your well being and your life instead of more things that are going to drain you. It's so obvious. Like, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, that was so well put. I liked how you said that. But yeah, you're right. It is so obvious. But you know what is also so funny is if you think about it, one of the techniques that I discuss is the power of intentional breath work in the book. And I position it like, you guys, we have like this insane tool at our disposal. It's in your body. You don't have to buy it. You don't need to like have an audible. You don't need to download an app. All you have to do is just either read my book or go online and find some breathwork, intentional breathworks series that resonate with you that you like. There's two that I do every single day. It is the most incredible tool. What it can do for your mind, scientifically, what it does for your body. But yet, we're like, breathing isn't going to change my life. But if I told you, here's a pill, and if you take this pill, it has no side effects, it's all natural. And when you take this pill, you are going to release your stress. You're going to come out of your sympathetic nervous state and come into parasympathetic mode. You're going to feel your body rest and digest. You're going to be so much calmer and clearer. You're going to improve your immunity and your circulation in your body. All these things, you'd be like, give me the pill, give me the pill.
It's
We
so
take the
true.
pill. But if I told you that just requires you to breathe for 2 minutes of intentional breathing, and you can feel those same things, we're like, hodgepodge, hokey pokey. We just dismiss it. And for some reason, we value a pill more than we value something as simple as real breath work. So I highly recommend everyone who's listening to take some time, just even if you get through the first chapter of my book, understand the power of breath work because it's these little things that truly can make a huge transformation in your life.
That is such a powerful way to explain that because it's so true. We would spend $80 on a supplement with the exact same
Yes.
benefits before we would actually do it.
Correct.
It's crazy. It's
Isn't that the
crazy.
truth? Oh my God. I feel like I need to start a campaign. I need to start like I need to hire influencers to come out and be like, this new product and not show it, blah, blah, blah. And then just turn around and be like, intentional breath work.
That would be a fascinating case study, seriously.
Honestly, I know. Like, click here to buy. And then you go to click and buy it. And it's me doing a video of breath work for free. I need to do that. That's what we need to
Seriously,
do.
you gotta do that. I mean, I think it's, like, not by accident, it's very intentional that we are
I'm writing this down.
Wait, I love this. This is like a good little think tank. It
I know, right?
I think we're so conditioned to buy, buy, buy that the answer is outside of us. The answer
Yes.
requires a lot of investment. In order to
Yes.
change our bodies, change our lives, we need all these external factors. Like
That's what
we
we
are
think.
so
Yes.
taught not to trust ourselves. So if it's something so simple, we're like, nah, that can't be right. It can't actually be just
It's not going
breathing
to
in
do
my body.
anything.
It's not going to do anything. When you kind of look at the deeper thing there, it is really sad how little we feel like the answers are within us.
So true.
And that's
Spot
sad.
on.
It's
So spot
sad,
on.
but it's so cool that, yes, you're giving people these amazing daily habits that are so simple, that are so life-changing, but the bigger picture I see is that you're also teaching people so much is within you, so much you can control.
Every single habit here does not require you to buy, download, and learn much. It just takes moments to adopt and adapt to your routine, and then you're done. It's so doable. It's so accessible, and it's so sustainable that there's no excuse. It's just no
Yes,
excuse. You got to
yes,
do it.
you
No
gotta do
excuse.
it. So I wanna get into a couple of the habits that you talk about in the book to give our listeners a little insight. I know that you
Yes.
talk about some that are focused on the morning,
Yes.
breakfast especially. Can you walk us
Yes.
through how these small shifts at breakfast time in your morning routine can change your whole day?
Yes. So I talked about breath work. That's number one. So we start out every single day with intentional breath work. Before my feet hit the floor, I have done a couple minutes of breathing, a little bit of reset in my mind. I have decided what I'm going to feel for the day, how I'm going to move through my day. I do not let like the world dictate my energy when I wake up. And this is a constant conversation in my house, by the way, with my teenage daughters. It's like, no, that's your reaction to it. That's not what you don't have to react that way. You don't have to let your day start that way. So that's number one. And there's some steps in between, but I'm going to jump right into, as you mentioned, breakfast, right? And I just call it the first meal of the day because a lot of my clients will fast and they don't eat until noon or whatever it is. So I don't care when you eat, although there is a lot of science behind eating early. It doesn't matter to me. Do whatever you want to do. You want to eat at 8 o'clock in the morning or at noon, whatever it is. But the first meal of the day is number one, an opportunity to fuel your body. We know this term, we hear it all the time, fuel your body instead of just eating, right? You want to make sure you're nourishing your body. But it's true, you actually want that first meal of the day to be as nutrient dense as possible, right? Because number one, it's going to give you the most energy for your day. Number two, it's going to give you satisfaction. You're going to have satiety. You're going to also make better decisions throughout the day because you're not moving and making decisions from a place of weakness and like fatigue and the nutritional component is so important. But one thing that I talk about is sitting down when you eat and setting aside your phone. So the first meal of the day, you put your phone away. First meal of the day, you put your phone away. So
It
I was
rhymes and everything, and
it
make it easy.
rhymes. Yeah, yeah. There we go. Look at all these nuggets we've got today in this podcast. But it's true. You put your phone away and because so often, what are we doing? We're just either, if you are not a mother, you're probably like just moving, like you're getting your shit done. You're like going to the next thing, like, oh, day starting, let's go, let's go. If you are a mother, you're typically eating the leftovers or whatever your kids are having, or like trying to squeeze it in, or eating on the car ride to school or to work, wherever you're doing. But the first meal of the day is such an opportunity. So I want you to just take 10 minutes and just have a moment to sit and be quiet. There is no distractions, there's no noise. Allow boredom to actually come into your world early on in the day and allow your body and mind to just wander. Let it wander. Let yourself think. We never let ourselves think anymore. We are just, I mean, think about the last time you went to a doctor's office or you had to sit and wait for something and you didn't reach for your phone.
Oh my god, years. I think about this all the time, even, like, waiting for the elevator when it's 10 seconds, you still look at your phone. It's like a habit.
How that is a habit, and it's become a sad habit that we cannot allow ourselves a moment, seconds to just let our mind wander and just to be. So, what I'm asking of you is that first meal of the day, sit down, set your phone aside, enjoy your food. Taste it, actually taste it. Enjoy it, let it nourish you. Think about your posture, think about your breath, think about all the few steps that you already did today that were great and intentional, and think about your day. Allowing those pockets and those boredom moments, right? Those like moments of boredom is what is going to allow you to attack your day from a better place, from a place of renewed energy. You reignite your creativity and you're also obviously nourishing your body. So that is something that I cannot push enough. I always say, like, there's brilliance in the blanks. The blanks in the day provide those opportunities for things to click.
It's so true. You just have to give yourself the space and, like, your brain can get solutions all on its own for anything that you may need. I know you're a mom to 2 teenage daughters, that's gotta be a whole other crazy topic.
Yes.
You're also so busy. For women listening right now who are like, I'm lucky if I even get breakfast in. How do I have the
Mhm.
time to give myself some silence?" What would you say?
Well, I have to say, if you are not getting your breakfast in, then you gotta stop. We gotta stop and reassess, because I think what you're doing is allowing yourself the excuse that you are not worthy of being taken care of, and that everything else should be a priority but you, and that will only end badly. It will end badly. So you got to stop that. This whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to wake up earlier, I'm going to hustle harder, I'm going to show up more, I'm going to put another hat on, I'm going to say yes to this, I'm going to say yes to this, and then wearing that as a badge of honor, those days have got to be stopped. That has to stop. That whole narrative, it's unsustainable. And there's no badge of honor there. You're actually just like slowly fatiguing your whole entire workings. So number one, if you are someone that is saying like, I can't even get breakfast in, then we need to stop. You just need to start small. So the goal is to just say, why? Like, how can you not have 10 minutes? Of course you have 10 minutes. You have to restructure. You have to be more strategic with your time. You have to stop and assess what truly matters. It does matter that you sit down and you find 10 minutes of a moment for you to sit down and enjoy a really great meal, and to allow yourself a brief moment to yourself. Just take that for yourself. And finding those pockets of self-care, because when you use the word self-care, which is so overused, we use it all the time, but you got to understand what that definition means to you. Because some people think of self-care and they're like, I'm not going to the spa for a day. I don't have time or money for that. And you don't have to. My self-care every single day is in the morning when I make my matcha. I make my matcha every single morning without fail. And I will tell you, I go to bed at night, I'm like, I can't wait to make my matcha in the morning because it's quiet. Everybody's asleep still. I get up a little bit earlier. It takes me 2 minutes and 35 seconds because that's what I have to cook my almond milk with on the microwave. And I just sit there and make my matcha. When the microwave is going, I'll do like some stretches in the morning. Just take that moment to just like think about the day, think about my energy, gratitude. And then I have my matcha and I enjoy that first sip, a little cinnamon. Now I'm adding a little pumpkin latte in there. And it's just like this moment of me time. And that's my little spot moment right then and there. And so finding those little ordinary moments and making them more extraordinary in your day are going to help you to just feel that self-care. That's a long-winded answer. Sit down and eat.
It's such a good definition of self-care too. It's like self-care is not this to-do list of like you do a bubble bath and then you do a face mask and then you do all these things, because that's not really caring for yourself. Like self-care is not this checklist. It's like a mindset, how you view your day, how you prioritize your time.
And if that is it for you, like if you're someone that's like, yes, I love my baths. Every night I take a bath. That's like my thing. Just figure out what it is for you, no matter what it is. Just be honest, like what you need. A lot of times it's great to get outside and clear your head and maybe not be with anybody. Maybe it's just your dog. And like sometimes, we go for walks, my girls and I, because it's a good time for us to connect, right? And where there's not music in the car and there's not all these other things going on, just to talk. But sometimes I just need my own time, my own walk by myself without anybody talking to me, to just have that alone time. So just ask yourself, what really gives me back? What do I feel when I do these activities? What gives me the most energy back, or whatever you're looking for? Are you looking for energy? Are you looking for more calm? Are you looking for more inspiration? And then channel that and decide what are those things that you do to feel that and find that. And then try to find pockets in your day, these micro moments in your day, to add it in.
You also mentioned sleep being one of the
Mm.
7 daily habits. So many questions we get are, I'm struggling with sleep. I'm exhausted all day because I didn't sleep at night. What is the daily habit that you swear by is going to help with sleep?
The last chapter is called Breathe Out, and it really focuses on setting the stage for sleep. And I think, if you look at, let's say you had a business meeting next week, okay, and it was a really important business meeting, and you're like, oh gosh, I gotta be prepared. I have to go to this meeting. So you show up for that meeting full out, right? You show up, you've got your notes, you know what you're doing, you've done your work, you've laid out the plan, and you followed through on that, and you show up and you're like, I'm ready, I've got this, I feel prepared. But when it comes to sleep, which is like the most important energizer, youthful pill, if you will, right, to take, and also like the indicator of how your day is going to go tomorrow. We just like scroll on our phone, watch the Netflix, eat whatever, have a glass of wine, and then we're like, okay, bed, ready, let's go, right?
So true. There's
It's like
there's no warm up,
ridiculous.
nothing.
There's no warm up. There is no practice. There's no rehearsal. We don't even we don't do anything. We don't set the stage. And raising kids, right? I have 2 teenagers now, but their bedtime was they had a ritual. They had a routine. We did not deviate from that routine unless we were traveling. And we had flexibility, but There was a reason for that because they needed to know what was happening. As children, we need to train them to sleep. So how do we train them to sleep? We make sure that they have their calm bath. We make sure that we read them the book. We dim the lights, like no electronics, all these things that we do to ensure that they're going to get good sleep. And then once we become adults, we're like, whatever. We're just going to crawl in bed and we're going to turn off our mind that never stops. And we're going to expect everything to shut down. And that's not how it works. So I give some strategies and techniques in the book for what I do to set the stage for sleep and how I use breath and stretching at night to really calm my body and mind, and how I also incorporate some mindful moments and intentional mindful moments to quell the constant worries. Like I'm a big thinker and I get super creative at night, but I also get super like all the things that are little get really big, at night, and the worries expand and compound. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh. So I do these certain techniques so that I can quiet that. I give it attention and then I let it go. And there's certain strategies that I use to do that. It has been my compass. It's just changed the game for me. And nobody messes with my sleep. My kids know, do not mess with mama's sleep, because I value my sleeps tremendously. And it has given me back so much because, yeah, sleep is power.
Talk about energy boundaries. Yeah, like sleep is everything. It's what gives you the energy to do anything that you want to do in your day. So it totally makes sense to prioritize that. And we're not. I think it's such a great point of like, we prepare for business meetings. When we work out, we know we have to warm our bodies up. But then there's something about sleep where it just doesn't get the same attention of like, okay, we're watching TV. Now we're just turn off the light. Oh, go to bed. And then you're ruminating on everything. Your body's wired. And we're wondering why we're not getting sleep.
Yes, or why we're waking up in the middle of the nights with thoughts chasing us. Like
Yes.
we haven't done what we need to do to set the stage for sleep.
To set the stage, to train our bodies like we
That's
know
it.
to do with kids. Yeah. So how long is this evening routine taking you? Because I think that's another reason is people are like, I don't have time for a nighttime routine.
Minutes. Last night I was exhausted. I dropped off my daughter at 6:30 in the morning at school. I did 2 rounds of carpool. It was a crazy day, nonstop. Got back at like 9:30, and tonight will be the same. I won't get back till 10:30 after the football game, and I don't have time for a lot. I don't have time. Like I have a crazy day, but yet I don't neglect me. So these things have to be short and sweet, and they have to be super effective. And so that's what it is. I'm talking last night, I put my leg up, I did my stretching, I did my breathing. I made sure that I was unwinding. Last night I did a little bit more deeper breath work. I could feel my body like on the high from yesterday and of everything. And so I did a little bit more, but 2 to 3 minutes. That's about it.
That's enough to prepare your body for great sleep.
Yes, but I also was not just vegging out on junky food and binge watching TV and then rolled right into bed. Like I set the stage before, like an hour before sleep. I make sure that the habits that I'm doing before that hour I go to bed are not going to be counterintuitive to what I need to sleep well, right? So like I don't drink alcohol at night. I have a magnesium drink at night. So I'm doing the things that are going to prepare me and set the stage. But the actual breathing technique is just a couple minutes.
Yeah, you're like preparing your body in that way, but
Yes.
the actual preparation is just a few minutes.
Yes, and I know people are probably like, "Oh, good for you, Andrea. You show you're perfect. You don't watch TV. You drink your tea. You never have wine." No, I'm human, and I watch TV and I have wine occasionally, but it's just not something I do on a regular basis in terms of the drinking. And I watch TV. I haven't watched TV in a while. This last couple of weeks, I cannot wait to binge. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. There's been no time to watch TV, and like I said, I value my sleep. So I like 9 o'clock. I gotta sleep.
It's sleep time.
So it's sleep time, girl. But I watch TV. I do all the things, but I just know that I don't go right from TV to bed. I try to watch TV in a different room. And then I know I'm like, okay, do I have time for 30 more minutes? Yeah, I do. But do I want to sleep good tonight? So I turn the TV off. And then I take those 30 minutes to have my cup of tea, to do my stretching, to relax, to make sure I have everything prepared for the day tomorrow. And I feel in control, not rushed and shoved into the bed because it was too late past my bedtime and now I got to turn on my sleep. So you have to ask yourself, if you're not willing to do tiny little things to change, then you're not going to see change. So if you're okay with the way things are, if you're sleeping great, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not, you need to make some changes, but you're like, don't wanna, then nothing's gonna change. So you have to make some changes and some sacrifices, but they're not big sacrifices. And then before you know it, it's the opposite. You feel like you're sacrificing when you don't do it.
And I think that's the part that people struggle with is like, that's such a good example of you're watching a show, it's 9 o'clock, you want it to start your bedtime routine at 9, but then you're like, oh, but I'm so comfortable. I want to watch another show. Or it's they want to eat another cookie or whatever it is. Like it's easy to keep going into the habit that you're in. So it's hard to make the switch of, no, I'm going to turn off the TV and do the thing I know is going to make me feel good. What advice
Yes.
would you have for people who want to turn off the TV and get started on their nighttime routine? Like do the thing that they know is going to make them feel good.
This is applicable for not just nighttime routine. This is applicable for everything. And I call it the after effect. So, how are you going to feel after you A, do the thing, or B, don't do the thing? So, let's say you want to eat those cookies, and instead of just having one, you want to eat five. How are you going to feel afterwards? And I ask myself, like, I love candy. I love candy. I've loved candy my whole life. My mom used to be like, you would trade me for a bag of Skittles. Like, I've always had a sweet tooth, my whole life. And it was when I started dancing professionally that I had to cut it out because it made me feel terrible, right? Like I have a very strong reaction to sugar. I will like, boom, I crash. I crash within like 30 minutes after. I'm like, my body feels weak. I can feel the effects of sugar. And so when I was a young adult, I realized like, okay, she's got to stop this. But that doesn't mean I don't have cravings. I want that candy. And I always do. But what I do for me, I'm like, after effect, Andrea, how are you going to feel afterwards? And ask my daughter, she laughs because sometimes I'm like, can you hand me the blah, blah? And she's like, you're going to talk about how you feel after, mom. What's the after effect? Like,
Wow,
and I'm like,
she is
you're right.
Andreaing you. That's
She is
amazing.
Andrea and me, totally. But that's what I do. I think about the after effect. I'm like, not worth it. Just not worth it. I'm not going to feel good. And it's not even like guilt. It's more of like, how am I going to feel physically? I'm going to feel pretty crappy, so I don't do it. If I stay up and watch an extra show, how am I going to feel tomorrow when I wake up and I've had an hour less sleep than I know I need? Not so good. And then that compounds into the rest of my day. And it just keeps going like a snowball. It just builds and builds and builds. And then you're in a crappy mood and everything seems negative and blah, blah, blah. And your attitude changes. So when you do the opposite and you just make that little change that although there's a tiny bit of discomfort in that decision, there's more discomfort by not doing it. So there's a little discomfort of, oh, I don't get to eat the nerd clusters that I love so much. There's a little discomfort, but eating the bag of nerd clusters and then an hour later feeling terrible, that's more discomfort. So I'd rather have that little moment of discomfort than the after effect discomfort.
That is amazing advice. So just think of how is this going to feel? Because it's true, it's not even like discipline versus pleasure, and you're not choosing pleasure. It's like you're actually choosing the more pleasurable option. Going to bed is going to just feel so much better than sitting through another show and feeling like shit, and then you're not getting enough sleep, and then you can't sleep. That's not pleasurable. What pleasurable would be is actually choosing to go do the breath work, get yourself ready for bed, sleep, that feels better. You're choosing the more pleasurable option.
Yes,
It's just like retraining what we've
it's
learned to
retraining.
define. Yeah.
It's retraining. But once you start to do it, like I'm telling you, like a week in, you're like, I'm that person. I'm the person that's moving my body every day, who's making these decisions, who's shutting down the TV early, who's doing my breath work. And it's so sustainable, but you really change real quick. Like you truly do. You see yourself and there's that moment of tiny little bits of pride that come in throughout the day when you do these little things. And all of a sudden you just start to feel more confident. You do.
Yes.
You feel more confident and in control of your life.
And it shifts your identity to be like, oh, I am the person
Truly.
that's doing this. And so if I'm the person that's doing breath work, I can also be the
I
person
can.
that does this at meetings. I can do this at my workouts.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You can.
100%. It's
And
building
you
your
can.
self-efficacy. What is one of the 7 practices that people tend to overlook or underestimate, but you think is like the secret weapon?
What we've already talked about. I could give you a different answer to make it unique, but I will go with honesty, which is breath work. That is exactly what it is. It's overlooked. People hear about it. They think it's maybe like you just sit down and close your eyes and have a kumbaya moment. You don't. I do breath work driving in the car. I'll do breath work as someone else is talking and I'm waiting. I do breath work secretly all day long while I'm doing other things. So it doesn't require you to like just stop the world. Although there are moments where I just like to shut down and really focus deeply in it. I do it all of the time. Carpool is like my favorite place to do breath work. So that is something that you can fit in. I just did an article for National Geographic talking about the power of breath work. And I interviewed an incredible individual, Earl Dobler, who is a former Navy SEAL, an FBI agent, and he discusses his experience with breathwork starting from the time he was actually submerged underwater. And in those moments that feel like life or death, truly, into the moments of his life being a father and a husband, and the same type of fight or flight response that we get in the everyday circumstances of just the everyday anxieties that we have coming at us full force every single day. And so I highly recommend, like I said, that is one that I think is completely underutilized, underestimated, and is like a secret weapon.
Wow. And I love the idea to do it in a car, especially like when you're usually in a car. Like I'm just thinking about my day to day. I'm going to an event. I know I'm going to be exhausted. So it's like the car is the best time to be like, okay, let me reinvest my energy to get to the place that I need for my day, but also wherever you're going next. If you're in carpool and your kids are about to get in the car, it's helping you recenter to get into the space where you can show up the best for your kids. Fitting it in the car is kind of genius. And I know you give so much more detail and go into detail of your routine in the book, but is there like a certain routine, a certain like box breath work or anything that you follow?
Yeah, so my two go-tos are called inhale and extend, and then box breathing. So the inhale and extend is what I mostly do, which is like a 4 count inhale. Inhale, I hold at the top of the breath for 4 counts. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just inhale for four, and then I have a really long, exaggerated exhale for a minimum of 8 counts. So it's like inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale as long as I can,
Mm.
just as long as I can. And it's interesting because when I first started, it was maybe 8, and now it's 12. And sometimes I don't count. I just breathe. I just breathe it out. That's my go to. It's just a conscious inhale, filling the lungs with air, feeling that expansion, holding the breath for a moment, just a moment, and then that long exhale. And I'll do that probably 4 or 5 times.
You can so see how your body, your mind feels that immediate difference.
Immediate, immediate. It's like someone just gave you a shot of anti anxiety.
Where a lot of our listeners are in places in their life where they want to make changes, right? Either they want to find a relationship, they want to make more money, they want to launch their business, they want to make a move, whatever it is. They're waiting until they get to live their big life. So, knowing your book is called Small Moves, Big Life, what part of your identity did you have to reclaim in order to live a big life?
I don't know that I had to necessarily reclaim. I had to reignite, I would say.
Oh,
Yeah,
reignite.
yeah, yeah, like, it's always been there, and I always felt like I was worthy of a big life, but it was when I was going through some really hard times and I found myself in a position was like, "Where how the hell did I get here?" Like, "No, no, no, no. This is not what I signed up for." And I think I had the opportunity to either sit and let that sink into my soul and identify who I was at that time and who I was gonna be, or I did what I did, which is I leaned into a lot of these principles, especially my mind up principle, which basically I just conditioned my mind to think about the future, which I knew was gonna be big, bold, and bright. And I had to like feel it, even though I felt like I was dying. I had to feel like I was that person that I knew I was capable of being and that I was worthy of. And I just had to keep telling myself, no, girl, you're capable of more. You're going to have a big, bold life. This is going to be who you are going to be. This is a moment. This is a chapter in your story. It's not your entire story. And so that's just what I kept leaning on. And I kept using my daily affirmations and my mind up principle to like just get me through. And so, yeah, I had to like reclaim and reignite. Reignite. Yeah.
Reignite is a really good word for it. Did you have doubts that would come in of like, who me? I can't do this, or that's impossible, or that's hard to get?
I don't think felt I can't do it. I felt like this is gonna be a lot of work. Like,
Be
this is
really
gonna be a
fucking
lot of
hard.
work.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really hard. I also was very realistic. I didn't think that, like, tomorrow everything's gonna change. I knew that I was gonna take a beat. I knew that next year at this time, I might not be where I fully want to be, but I'm going to be a lot better off than I am right now. And that's kind of what I thought of. And every day was just a tiny, tiny, incremental, little better now, like a little better now. And some days I backed up and it wasn't better, but when I zoomed out, I was slowly, slowly doing the things to shift the energy, to find myself to be that person that I had on my vision board, to be that person that was in my head saying, this is who you're going to be. And I'm still working towards her. I'm accomplishing goals, I'm doing all that, but I'm still, every day, I still think about who that person is. And I don't know, do I ever get there? Maybe. I hope. I mean, I'm satisfied, I'm grateful, but I'm always hungry. So, like, it's like I'm always trying to reach for that person that I know that I'm capable of being.
But because of these practices, you feel so deeply connected to that person, to her on a daily basis.
Yeah, I don't feel out of control. I don't feel like it's out of my reach.
Because I think that right there is the really hard part for most people is you feel so disconnected from the person that you want to be. We can envision, I want
Yes.
this kind of job, I want this life, I want to be this person, but we feel so disconnected that we don't know how to become her and we don't show up as her.
Yes. Yes. I mean, gosh, when I was going through this, I was living in South Florida, had to move out of my house. I mean, it was just chaos. I was very, very far from being that girl, very far. And that's normal. So don't think that it's dead. But that isn't a boundary either. That's just a moment. That's just a feeling. It's not concrete. It's not immovable. Like you can move through this and you will move through it, but you have to just do the next right thing. Every day is a chance for you to do the next right thing. So if you're struggling with confidence, you have to lean into these mind up principles and you have to do them. You have to do them. Even though you feel stupid, like when I first started doing these things, I'm like, this girl, what are you doing? Like it felt ridiculous, but it depends on who you are. Like for me, I'm not a big like crystals and chakra kind of girl. I love it for everybody. I think it's great. I have a huge network of people who are, but for me at that time, I was not. And so for me to do some of this, it took some doing. It really took some doing. And I felt stupid. I sat and like, what am I doing? I'm recording my voice right now. Like, oh my God, I hate the sound of my voice. I hate the sound of my voice. And I can't believe I'm doing this. And I'm like, yes. And talking to myself on my phone. And these things felt really ridiculous, but I still did it because I knew somewhere deep inside, I knew if I just did these things, I would start to pull myself out of the darkest times. So it worked. And I did it like 5 times a day in the beginning. And then it just now I'm doing it like a couple times a month when I need to lean into it, when I need to shift out of that funk.
And when you say those practices you're doing 5 times a day or what you do when you shift out of the funk, is the, like, reconnecting to that vision of you, like, getting into the mindset, repeating your affirmations to yourself?
That is correct. Yes. And that is all the Mind Up chapter is in the book. Yeah, it is super powerful.
When we think about, "This is the person I wanna be, the life I wanna have," knowing that it feels so out of reach, so far away, so distant, we think of it like we have to do this huge overhaul. We need all these different things to be different, whereas knowing that showing up in your day, like, not your future self today, but, like, in your current day, in this life right now, in this job you have, these relationships you have, this life that you have now, showing up differently in that life is the way that you get to that life in the future. Like, that is such a different way and so much more inspiring and accessible of how we actually get there is just showing up in this life differently.
Spot on.
Mm,
Spot on.
so
Yes.
powerful. Okay, Andrea, I could go on and on talking to you, but we're gonna wrap up.
You too, girl.
We're gonna
That
wrap
was
up.
great.
We're gonna wrap up with some rapid fire questions. First one, the most used app on your phone.
Think up.
What is Think Up?
It's like my Mind Up philosophy, which yeah, it's all about those affirmations.
Ooh, and
Download it.
it's an app? Wait, I had
It's an
no
app.
idea. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Yes.
That sounds
Yes.
amazing. What's on your vision board right now?
Oh, well, it was best-selling author,
I
so I get
know.
to that was, like, my biggest vision board moment. So, yeah, we just hit that yesterday. So now I haven't refreshed it because that just happened yesterday. Yeah, I'm already looking at, like, I want to segue into more keynote speaking and female empowerment groups and trying to pull into that kind of sector further. It's probably my vision board of me standing on a stage presenting to a large group of women.
Oh, I love that, and I so obviously see that for you. That is the next phase for sure.
Thank you.
I even feel bad asking that question because you just hit bestseller. That is so huge. How do you balance in your career kind of being able to celebrate and really enjoy the milestones that you hit while also being, like you said, the very future focused, ambitious person you are where you always want more?
Yeah, that's laughing yesterday because my friends were all texting me like, "What are you doing? Oh my god, are you celebrating?" I'm like, "I just went to the grocery store and now I'm cleaning out the refrigerator and getting ready to jump on a Zoom." So like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Life.
yeah.
Life is continuing to
Life,
happen.
life.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So yeah, it's not always glamorous, but I had a moment to myself. I had a cry and I had a celebration internally and I felt proud and my daughters felt proud and we all went to dinner last night. And so yeah, it doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be full and like
Full.
meaningful. So that was it. So you got to take those moments to celebrate and those little things that we're talking about, those little moments of pride are what create motivation. So if you're someone that lacks motivation, just do a little thing and then be proud of yourself for that little thing you do and it's going to be contagious. It's like That's the result, is the feeling, right? The
Mm.
feeling is the result. And once you get that little high from, okay, I did that thing. I returned those damn boxes in the corner and good atta girl, good job, you did it.
You-
That little moment of that atta girl, those add up. Those add up. And that's what you want to do. So give yourself atta girls all day long. It doesn't have to be a big, huge accomplishment to be proud of yourself for the things that you're doing. We are all balancing so much in our lives, and we have become so conditioned to have these big, huge wins to feel pride. You should feel pride that every day you should find moments to feel pride, right? Just like we say we want to find gratitude every day, and gratitude is the source of getting there. But you got to find pride, little pockets of pride every single day. Find atta girls every day. Give yourself an atta girl every single day, like as many atta girls as you can. That's it. And then, yeah, that will start to give your visions for the future. And that will start to, that pride adds up to get yourself like positioned for what you want more
Ugh.
of.
I love finding an atta girl every day. It sounds like pride in yourself is a habit. Like it's not just something you automatically feel, because I think we all have the experience of getting a promotion, getting a bonus, achieving something we wanted to achieve, and kind of that feeling of like, okay, now what? Instead of that, whoa, look what I did, look what I've
Yes.
accomplished. And probably if you're
Yes.
practicing the atta girls every day, you're
Yes.
practicing that. You are practicing the feeling of feeling pride in yourself so that when you do get these moments, some of us will not be the best sellers, but you achieve the
Yes.
presentation at work, you get the
You
bonus, whatever it
bet.
is, like you are
You cleaned out the
you
refrigerator,
cleaned out the
whatever it
goddamn
is.
refrigerator.
Like, and that's the thing you just pointed out. We got to stop comparing. It is very easy for us to jump on and be like, oh my God, she just did this big, huge thing. I have done it. I look at like some of these, amazing women in their 20s building these massive companies. I'm like, holy shit, that's impressive. I love that. And I try to look at that and not go, oh my God, I'm not her. I can't believe I don't have that. There's that voice that wants to pop in. She comes up, and then you're like, no, I want to learn from her. What did she do? How did she go after it? That's amazing. I might not have that same exact goal or reach that same exact height, but what can I do in my life to emulate that type of success in my own way? So that's what I'm trying to do. But it's a constant narrative that you're fighting sometimes, because it's natural to have that, holy cow, she's doing more than me or bigger than me or better than me or whatever this is. But you have to stop and go, okay, cool, that's her story. What is my story? And how can I learn from her story and make my story feel more authentically successful to me?
Yes, it's like turning envy into curiosity, where you're like, "What can this
That's,
teach me
oh,
about myself?" We are
boom,
just riffing. We're
boom.
riffing.
I love it. I love it. I love that.
Okay,
Yes.
fill in the blank. If everyone had this one habit, it would change their life.
Move your body, move your life.
Greatest piece of advice you've ever received.
If the door is shut, find a window.
Ooh, I love that. There's always a window to find. Last question, Andrea. A book that changed your life.
Ikigai, the Japanese principle to living a happy life. I don't know if that's the exact tagline, but it's Ikigai. And I live my life trying to be an Iki girl. So if you haven't read about the Ikigai principle, it's a quick read. Like, you'll read it in a day. It's amazing. It's got a blue cover. It's somewhere around here. It's amazing. It's
Mm.
amazing. You'll love it.
That's one of my favorite principles too. Such
Yeah,
a beautiful way to live
it's a
life.
purpose-driven life. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it identifies what that purpose is for you, not, as we just talked about, what purpose in general looks successful. It's what is it for you. So
Mm.
highly recommend that book. And I talk about Ikigai in my book.
Andrea, where can
Yeah.
everybody find you, get the book, work with you, all
Yes.
the things?
Smallmovesbiglife.com. If you buy the book, shoot me over a screenshot of your receipt, and the email's on the Small Moves Big Life website, and I will give you access to my free workouts. I've got free 10-minute workouts that accompany the book. So there's no excuse to move your body every single day. And I also have free stretches on there as well. So I give you the tools that you need to start making moves.
Amazing. Andrea, thank you so much. This was amazing.
That was
So fun.
amazing. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know I sure did. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference for our show, so we can keep growing and bringing the content that you love. If you want more info, you can find us at the Everygirl Podcast on Instagram or theeverygirlpodcast.com. Talk to you next week.